get a degree, find a job, get married, buy a house, and settle down. This seems to be the global definition of success for a lot of us. Our guest today is breaking those rules and redefining success in her career. And she's living a digital nomadic lifestyle, which is so exciting. Our guest today will tell us how we can personalize our own success, her story of becoming a digital nomad, and all the wonderful transitions that she has gone through in her career and life. I am so excited to be talking to Masha from The Coding Blonde, which is a website, blog, and an Instagram page that she runs. So excited for you all to listen to her STEM story. Hi there, this is Prasha Dutra, and I'm passionate about helping you unlock your true potential in your science, technology, engineering, and mathematics career and beyond. Less than a decade ago, I moved to the US from India to live my American dream. I took my engineering career to the next level by starting my own consulting and coaching company while thriving at my 9-to-5 job. Money, time management, career planning, and personal growth are all things we'll discuss here. From expert guests and their stories to my own lessons, this show is an ongoing masterclass in how to believe in your brilliance and conquer your STEM career with confidence. Get a pen and paper and get ready for an education you wish you had in school. This is Her STEM Story, the podcast. Hi, Masha. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Prasha. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, this is so exciting. So tell me, how are you doing? Which country you're in? And how are you dealing with everything that's going on?
I'm doing all right. Today is a good day. Yesterday may have been different, but I am in Chile right now. I was caught being a digital nomad, and it felt right to stay low in Chile while we're here. And I don't know how long we're here for, but we'll see. Doing as well as it gets right now, I guess. What about you?
Especially, we're doing okay. Like, at least we're not in another country. But, how does it feel to go through a global pandemic as a digital nomad, like someone who, is traveling all the time?
I gotta say it's pretty stressful and maybe even more uncertain than for other people, because we were living in a constant state of uncertainty. But by booking trips in front of us, we were getting rid of that uncertainty. And now we had to cancel a lot of things. I was actually meant to be on the plane to Istanbul today to spend a month in Istanbul, but hey, some things don't work out. And it's just a little uncertain because we're here as tourists and we're extending our visas and everything, but we don't have any rights. And, getting to a place that's, I guess we can call home or something that's closer to home, we don't know when we're going to get there. So it's a little uncertain. It's a little bit, I don't know, it feels shaky, but hey, everybody has their own problems right now. So
yeah, everyone is on their own adventure. But what got you attracted towards this lifestyle? Because it's so, I guess, so intriguing for people who are, like me, who are immigrants and who are always looking for stability. It's definitely very intriguing to see people travel the world and, be free like that. So tell me, how did you get?
I guess for me, it was, I'm a very curious person, and I love traveling. I love getting to know different cultures and really understanding how people live in different places. So it's always been a dream. I knew I would not live in certain places long term, right? Because you can't just continue moving every 2 years or something, right? Once you stabilize and once you decide on where you want to buy a house or something like that, you're there. So I wanted to have a period of my life where I got to explore different cultures and different places and cook with local ingredients. For me, food is a big thing of discovering the world and cultures. So I wanted to have a period of time where I got to discover cultures that I wouldn't otherwise, as an I wouldn't say as an insider, because of course you're never really an insider, even if you spend 1 month at a place, but a bit closer to understanding what local people are experiencing and everything. And so I wanted to do that, and we kind of fell into this lifestyle with my boyfriend because I was trying to extend my visa when I was in the US, and that didn't work out. And we decided to just take off and have an adventure before we settle down somewhere.
Mhm. Yeah, that's amazing. That's like taking a something that didn't work out and making the best out of it, but also just living your dreams.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing is, like, that's the thing. You have to understand what your dreams are to actually live them.
Yeah, I know. You'd need to have that self-awareness for sure. So I know when you put your title, you say content creator, and that's a very popular term right now. So tell us a little bit about what is a content creator and what do you do for a job, for a living?
I feel like every content creator will tell you something different,
Hmm.
right? Because everybody has a different drive and a different why behind what they're doing. And my mission is to empower women in STEM to create a life that they want and that they deserve, and also to figure out what impact they want to have in their lifetimes, in their careers, and how they can how they can create that impact. So I create content that is aimed at that. And for me, that means figuring out what would serve my audience, what would serve my ideal, I don't want to say customer because, I'm creating free content, but what would serve the people that I want to serve. And so I'm creating content in a video and text form and visual content most of the time to serve that purpose. And my day is no week is the same. No day is the same. It's very much a creative process and very it really depends on the projects that I have going on. And of course, there's also client work and things like that also dictate your work, because at the end of the day, you do have to pay the bills, right? You can't
Yeah,
just be creating content and eating air. You have to eat.
that is very
So
important.
very important. So yeah, I feel like it means different things for different people, but for me, it's serving my audience, serving my mission.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what got you interested in, serving this really niche community, which is, now it's growing, but I'm sure when you started or in even a couple of years ago when I started, it wasn't as big. It's growing, by the day. So what got you interested on this path?
It was back in 2015. I was in between jobs. I was doing some work for startups, and I'm originally Russian, and I needed a visa to. I'm originally Russian, but I studied in Europe, in the UK, and in Spain, and I wanted to stay in Europe. But to do that, I needed to get a visa, a work visa anywhere. And I have a marketing background, which means that it's very hard to stand out as a candidate. So I decided to revisit my long lost passion for programming. I actually programmed when I was 11, 11, 12, 13, and I won some competitions in Russia, which feels very, very bizarre. I was programming in Visual Basic, and at the time I didn't even know that it was called that, but I was creating programs, and I was having so much fun building something. So I knew at the back of my head that that was something that I that I was good at, that I was enjoying, that I did enjoy. And so in 2015, when I was in between and trying to become more marketable, I decided that adding coding skills to my CV would take it to the next level and would really make me stand out as a candidate. And I started learning how to code. I started teaching myself how to code using the different free resources that are out there. And I realized how difficult it was, or how intimidating it was as a woman to get into this field. And so that's when I actually started Coding Blonde. And the idea behind Coding Blonde was to document my journey learning how to code.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of weeks after I started it, I got my first interview with Google for a non-coding position.
Mm-hmm.
So, once I got that job, it was my dream company at the time, and I was just so happy. Got the job. I couldn't keep up with the coding, but I kept on creating content for my channel, and it has evolved. It has had different missions, slightly different missions,
Okay.
throughout the time. But I always knew that I wanted to ultimately serve this female audience. And the more serious I got about my blog and my content, the narrower I started. Basically, I started narrowing down my mission and my audience and all that stuff. So I guess it was a funnel from 2015 until now, and just my blog took different evolutions to get where we are. But it was originally because I realized how intimidating it was for me to be in this industry, and I didn't really know how to position myself and everything. So yeah, that's why I decided to create content for this specific audience.
Yeah, that's incredible. And, Google is a lot of people's dream company. So I'm so glad you got to actually experience that. Then what got you change gears and then get full time into this?
Yeah, so my time at Google was wonderful. And, I would highly recommend trying to work at a company like Google to anyone, because it was an incredible experience. I worked on some really cool projects, especially because I was in the YouTube team, and I got to just create events and communities and things like that I don't think I would ever have the opportunity to do the same in any other environment. But I realized that career wasn't everything that I wanted in this life. And, my personal life was very important to me. And I was trying to relocate to the US. I was working at Google in London, which was, again, wonderful, worked with amazing people. But I was in a long distance relationship with my boyfriend, who was in Colorado, Denver. And I was trying to relocate, and I started looking at options, and I realized that I didn't have good enough options that I could at least find at my level that would also sponsor me for a visa. Yeah. Hello, visa issue again. Yeah. So I couldn't really find anything within Google, so I had to go externally. And I tried to, I see career as not a straight path, not a ladder or a train track, where you just continue going and going and going. No, I see it as these diagonally vertical, again, ladders, yes, but more like Harry Potter ladders, where they move, staircases where they move everywhere, right? As long as you're moving up, if you're moving diagonally, doesn't matter. So I decided to go externally, and actually for a year and a half, I worked as a global entrepreneur in residence at CU Boulder, which was an awesome position at a university in Colorado. And it was a part-time position. So it was kind of, when I started Coding Blonde, when I registered it as a business before I left the UK, I realized that this would allow me to start to dip my feet into entrepreneurship without taking my trainer wheels off. I still had a role, I still had an income, and that allowed me to try it out. And once I did, I realized, hey, I can do this.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's how I ended up here.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think you said it right, like it's not a straight path. And I don't know where the career ladder word comes from. Like, I don't know if it's too archaic or if it hasn't evolved, or I'm not sure where that comes from. But it's really annoying because, again, when you talk to a lot of women and younger women who are just getting out of college, it's this one straight path of, this 5-year mark, I do this, in 2 years I get married, and then 1 year I have a kid, and it's, I have the house and everything. And, some of it works and some of it doesn't. And then we don't have the tools to work around it because the society is deciding or dictating what success means. And one of the things that you advocate for is that success is personal. So tell us, what does success mean to you? And then how can we personalize it for ourselves too?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that to me, success means at the moment, right? Success means different things to everyone at different stages of their lives, right? We also have to understand that. When we're in high school, it's completely different to when we're at university or when we're starting our careers. Right now, for me, success means being independent, exploring the world, living in an apartment with a big balcony, a nice kitchen, big balcony, and having that freedom. But in a couple of years, it may also change because maybe, different priorities will come into place, maybe buying a house, having children, or anything like that, But you have to understand what it is for you and really create a picture of what it is for you at this moment. And that's what I'm advocating for all the time, because unless you understand, unless you can visualize what that success is, you will not be able to reach it. Because how can you, think about driving somewhere and getting to a destination. How can you get there without knowing what it is? Because without knowing what it is, you can't even draw a map. You can't understand what things you need to change in your life. And, by things, I mean different variables that matter to you, that are priorities in your life. For example, in my case, it was my career and also my personal life. I didn't want to, I know for some people, they prioritize solely career. For some people, they prioritize solely their, family life. For me, they're equal parts. And it's fine to have different priorities, right? But understanding them is so important. So once I understood that my personal life is just as important for me as my career, I made the move and I was like, okay, you know what? This is the direction that I need to take. So everybody just has to, I guess, sit down and do certain exercises, understanding what their priorities in life are and what success looks like and how they can get there. I've actually worked on a course that I can send you a link to it.
Yeah, awesome.
It's basically a set of exercises that help you define what success means to you. And I have a theory of the 3 pillars and what success is. And I feel like we have to have some structure behind those exercises, but we also don't have to have the structure, right? It is so personal that, everybody can define it for themselves. But I've created a structure that has helped me define it, and I think that will help other people to define it as well.
That's amazing. That was my follow-up question. I was like, okay, what kind of exercises do you recommend? And you're on spot that, you have a course, and I'll definitely share the link in the episode notes. So we see a lot of people, trying to grow their Instagram accounts. So this is something that happens a lot to the people that follow me and the show, and women that are starting off their blogs, and, all these opportunities that are coming with a more virtual world. And, women are so go-getters that if they see an opportunity, they really want to try. And so what's that one thing that you think people don't realize about success on Instagram? Again, it's personal. For some, it's how many DMs in their DMs. For some, it's conversion. For some, it's the followers. But of course, we see a lot of motivation around the number of followers. So bust that myth and tell us that what do people not realize about, what quote unquote success looks like on Instagram?
That it takes a lot of work, a lot of consistency, a lot of your personal time, and that you don't really get weekends. You don't get holidays. Because if you're trying to grow your social media, it is a full-time job, and you are a slave of the algorithm to an extent. And unfortunately, you have to play by the rules if you want to be successful, quote unquote, right? Everybody defines what success means to them, of course, but if you want to grow those numbers, you have to play by the algorithm rules. So you have to obey the algorithm gods.
Yeah.
And I guess that's something that people take for granted. They don't understand that it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure to constantly be creating content and to always be on top, to always be in a good mood, I was actually talking to one of my friends who is also creating content on Instagram, and she was saying social media expects me to be positive at all times, but right now I can't be positive. And it's crazy because sometimes we can't be ourselves. We can't be super authentic, and we can't show our real emotions because there's just that expectation. And if you do show real emotions, you'll get bombarded by comments and messages being like, stay positive, smile, like you can do this. And yes, some of them are coming from a good place, but it's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah, I think I think what I've learned is it's just week after week after week. Like the weeks go by so fast when you're creating content because, as soon as you're done with this week, the next one's waiting, And I think that is, you can only sustain it, as you said in the beginning too, you can only sustain it if you love it, right? If you really, like, you feel for the impact, you feel for the message, that's how you kind of create that. And then number two is if you make it sustainable, because again, you're going to burn out. You're going to not care if you have 10K or 20K or 50K followers. If you're not bringing in money at some point in some form, way, shape or form, it's not sustainable. And you will really just fail, in the, what do you call it, in the class of life, I guess, that, you're putting all this work in and you're not getting anything in return. So I think from my point of view, I've seen a lot of people focus so much on that numbers and totally forget about the big why. What does success mean to me? How will I sustain this? Like, yes, it's going to be week after week after week. How will you show up? And how do you actually deal with, when you don't feel good? Like, how do you, realize that, there'll be days when I'm not myself, and, do I show this to my family? And, social media is not for it. This was one of the revelations I had last few months ago, was I got so involved and I thought all these people are my friends, and, they're nice people. They are friendly, but some of them are not my friends, and it's okay because I can't put that burden on some strangers, right, to help me through life. And so I realized where to draw the line and say, okay, this is business. It's all great and fun, but when I'm sad or when things are not going my way, like, I need to find another outlet, like, being close to my family and stuff like that, because these are really strange connections that we really sometimes don't know how to work with.
Absolutely. And I read somewhere that, back in the day, people didn't know as many people as we know right? Before everybody was so interconnected. Well, maybe you had friends in your local town. Maybe you even had friends in your, in the bigger city nearby or whatever, but you never were connected to so many people, right? And so we're exposed to people that are not our friends. It's just normal, right? And in fact, when I first started getting haters on my social channels, I was actually pretty happy. I was like, you know what? I'm outside of my friend circle. These people are not my friends. They're going to either tell me how things as they are, or not that my friends wouldn't give me feedback, but, these people will give way harsher feedback. But also, this just means that they're randomers watching my stuff. And it's normal. It's social media. It's the internet. Everybody has access to it. The moment you put your stuff in public, you have to understand somebody who might not mean the best things for you may see them.
Yeah. Lots of things that come with it, right? Like, so tell me, what's your secret to continuing to create sustainable content all these years?
For sure. It's my why, right? What you mentioned exactly. It's why am I doing this? And there are days when, yes, I am making money off my channels, right? Of my social media, but even money is not enough to motivate me some days, because there are times when you get down, where you're feeling low, and it's only my why. It's the community of women that are just wonderful. And I understand how the amazing connections that I've made through these platforms. I understand the impacts that I can have in their lives and the impact that some of my content has had in their lives. Mm-hmm. And that keeps me going. That keeps me creating, that keeps me ideating, that keeps me brainstorming, and that just pops those ideas into my head at 2 a.m. at night, and I can't sleep for the rest of the night because I'm just brainstorming and like on my phone on the side of the bed so I don't wake up my boyfriend with the light, and just like writing down notes or like writing down emails and things like that. It's just, yeah,
it's a problem when you find your why.
Exactly. It is a wonderful problem because it wakes you up in the morning. It allows you to function, because especially in times like this, I think that if we don't have a why, we can be very lost. And why is, again, it helps you navigate. It helps you understand the direction of where you're going and evaluate whether you're on the right path or not. Yeah. So yeah, why is very important. So that's whenever somebody asks me, okay, I'm trying to create social media and I want to create a blog, I immediately tell them to start with their why. Yeah. Not with anything else, not with the domain, not with a catchy title, not with a catchy format of their content. No, what is your why? Why are you creating content, and why are you trying to reach this audience? And unfortunately, a lot of people shut down at that point. They're like, not for me. Yeah. But hey, that means that they didn't waste any time.
Yeah. And a lot of times it comes to you in different forms, right? You might start something and figure it out as you go, but asking yourself that all the time. One thing that I ask people is like, why you? Why should you do this? Right? So a little backstory, I'll tell you, I tried to build an app. Okay. I don't know anything about apps. I tried to build an app in the restaurant industry. Like I kept this idea for like 6 months. I actually pitched it. Like I know nothing about both the worlds, right? And so that's exactly where, even in the competition and everywhere, people were like, why you? And it hurts because you're like, because I came up with it. And it's like, that's not good enough. You should have a story to back it up. You should have a reason to continue. Like I remember someone said, I want to start a podcast about people with disabilities. And I said, it's great, but why? What's your story here? Why you? Do you know someone? How were you affected? Because again, if you don't have those real like anchoring, stories, it's going to be impossible to keep up with the pressure, as you said, and with the amount of creativity that you have to bring to the table every single day, and be positive all the time, and then people will not resonate with you because they're like, what's your story here? Like, why should I care? I think it's so important for sure. So tell us, what's your superpower? You do all these things.
I think it's my creativity. I am ideas just come to me, and I read this I don't remember the title of the book. It's by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Yes, Big Magic.
Big Magic, that's right. And I love the idea of ideas floating around and just sticking to somebody's head, and seeing whether you're going to see it through with them. And that's how I feel. I feel like I'm very much a vessel for ideas, and unfortunately sometimes that means that I am overwhelmed with how many things I want to do at once, and that means I'm not doing anything. And actually one of my posts this week on Instagram, because content batching is going to be a quote by Steve Jobs about eliminating all of the things and trying to filter out and really focusing on what you're trying to do and everything. But I have ideas, and sometimes they're more global, more local when it comes to my channel and like my videos or my content, or for example, Women in Tech Weekly newsletter, things like that just come to me. And it's amazing. To be honest, it allows me to take situations or take things that are pretty regular and spin them in a new, different way. Just like what you said, my visa didn't get approved, so I became a digital nomad. Things like that, to be creative about situations and about things. So I think that's my superpower.
That's
Sure.
awesome. So tell us how you think that women in STEM can start believing in their brilliance.
I think that it all of the blocks and all of the barriers are all in our heads.
Mm-hmm.
And the first place where we all need to start is there. We need to start believing in ourselves and making ourselves believe in how grateful we are and how amazing we are, because we are. And I think that writing gratitude statements and affirmations is an amazing way to start building up that confidence. I actually have experienced it myself, and I do that every single morning. I write down gratitude statements, I write down affirmations, and that really helps with everything. When it comes to my confidence, my self-esteem, and just even imposter syndrome. I actually wrote a bunch of affirmations for imposter syndrome, which I can also send you if you're interested.
Yeah.
But I think that those little exercises are so incredibly powerful and help us reshift our perspective of ourselves. Because who cares about those people who undermine you? You know your potential. You know your powers, your superpowers. You understand what you're capable of. You have passions. You have things to bring to the table. Like, why you? You know why you, right? You know why it should be you. You know why you're here. And you just have to remind yourself of that. And you have to see it in your own writing or write it down, but basically process that for yourself until you can basically, it becomes second nature. And I think that's the best way to start. And then just proving to yourself, milestone by milestone, how awesome you are, and creating that unique path, creating that unique life for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Like, don't try to copy anyone. You're special. And as you said, affirmations are phenomenal. Like, it's like deprogramming or reprogramming your brain into believing what you want it to believe instead of what has been told to you by society and school and parents or family, and just kind of reprogramming your brain to believe in your brilliance. So it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Neuroplasticity. We can create those new connections. It just takes practice. It just takes time and repetition. That's why you can start playing a musical instrument if you have spent enough time practicing it.
Yeah, 100%. So before we let you go, tell us, what's your favorite book?
Oh my God, I have so many, but I think the most life-changing has been You're a Badass by Jen Sincero. I absolutely love that book. It's incredible. And I've recommended it to so many people. I've bought it for so many people. It's an incredible book, and it has had an amazing impact in my life and in the lives of many of my friends. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's an amazing book. I actually got to meet Jen Sincero at a conference here in Boston 2 years ago, and she had come out with How to Be a Badass at Making Money. And so I was in the line to get the book signed. And she wrote in the book, "Here's to getting fabulously rich." And then I forgot about the book. I put it away. I didn't know where it was. That's what I love about books. They find you when the time's right. And then I opened it like 6 or 8 months ago, and I read it. And I think finally I got it. And it has completely transformed how I live my life in the last 8 months. I think she's amazing. For sure.
Absolutely. Actually, from that book, You're a Badass at Making Money, immediately I read that one. Once I read You're a Badass, and some of the affirmations that she said in that book, I still write to this day.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. And then where can our audience find you?
On social media, type in Coding Blonde and you'll get me. I guess the place where I hang out most is Instagram. But yeah, you can also try YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Oh, I'm also on Pinterest. Yeah, trying to grow my Pinterest.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Masha, for your amazing time and for sharing all these amazing stories. You are on a roll and living a phenomenally adventurous life, which, I'm in awe, but also very, 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 very inspired for sure. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me and for creating all this content. I'm so happy that you're doing this, and yeah, very excited to see what's next.
And that was Masha with her amazing STEM story. Please use the links in the episode notes to follow Masha and her amazing work. Next week, join us again for a brand new episode of her STEM story. Until then, subscribe, rate, and review this podcast on any podcasting platforms that you use. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.